Katie Longmyer of Good Peoples. I moved to New York in February of 2002. I've always wanted to work in music. I am a classically trained cellist. I always enjoyed playing in orchestras and being surrounded by creative people. As I got older and explored other genres and fell in love with them, I kind of find dance music to be one of the more orchestral types of music. I think that's why I gravitated to it. And I love people, so I think I just sort of fell into my event collaborative space that I'm in now. My first official job in music business was I was a flyer bitch for the Buzz Party in Washington, D.C., and it was fun. It was a really good excuse to get into everywhere for free. So I spent a lot of time getting to know all the other promoters. It was totally organic networking. I didn't even realize I was doing it. What was Buzz like when you were at the party? It was a place where people who were misfits, for lack of a better word, would all come, and the one thing we had in common is that we had explored and discovered dance music on our own. That was still when Tower Records was the place to be, and I would go and comb through the dance music section, and that would be how I discovered music, and we'd all share it with friends. So you'd go and there would be bankers and high school students and traveling hippies of all kinds, and we'd all come together, and the vibe was just so good. Everybody wanted to dance, everybody cared about the music, everybody wanted to meet new people because it was such an intimate community at the time. It definitely changed my life. When I moved to New York in 2002, I was going out and having a lot of fun. I was meeting a lot of really incredible people. The thing that was really interesting to me was that they all knew each other, but they weren't doing anything with each other. So we would all be sitting at the same table at a club talking about what we did that day, and everybody was so inspiring, but nobody was connecting. So it seemed logical to me that I would find a way for us all to do something together, mostly. And then I met a guy named Fubs who owned Beautiful Decay magazine. It was a high art graffiti contrast magazine. And he had been throwing his own magazine parties, and he needed someone to take that element off of his plate. And I saw it, because of the content of the magazine, a really easy way to mirror that in the world. And I said, oh, I've thrown a party before. I can try that out. Just for fun, as a one-off, he gave me a shot. And I found a venue, and I reached out to all my creative friends for help, and it became a team effort, sort of by accident. And then the night of the party, or somebody said, well, you have to put your name on this. You have to call yourself something. And I said, okay, well, what should I call myself? And everyone said, Good Peoples. Because whenever we were all hanging out, the one piece of feedback you'd always hear from other people is, oh, I went out with Katie, and everyone she hangs out with is such good people. And I arrived literally on the New York scene overnight by accident. Every single artist that I interact with like a project, because they're always creating. So any artist you see me kind of rolling with is a project. It's also a friend. But as far as properties, I own two things with a business partner, Jen Lyon, who's a booker. We own a party called Dark Disco together, which is a rave and a dim sum restaurant that we convert into a nightclub. So I also co-own a music festival called the Brooklyn Electronic Music Festival, super original name. It takes place in Williamsburg in November over the course of 2 days, with a pre-party the day before and usually one after hours somewhere in there. It's across 6 venues, so you can buy one ticket and walk between all of the very famous now Williamsburg venues. And we try to focus on the emerging dance music community. So where you would, when you go through festival season, you see these heavy-hitting EDM acts. With us, we sort of try to partner large-scale dance music acts that are a little bit more endemic to the community with emerging acts. Some of the people who've played BEMF are Hudson Mohawk, Lunis, Kid Sister, Digweed, Rocky Fresh, Salva. Pete Tong was a really exciting lineup for us. It's a very comprehensive, awesome property.
It's what your grandfather used to call house music.
and they know that we're willing to give them a shot and we're willing to invest because we believe in the music. It's not about being a promoter and selling tickets. It's about actually being part of the community and wanting to make sure that that continues. So we'll never, exclude somebody or not be willing to take that risk. It's worth it. So the summer is my favorite time of year because every Friday I have the best view in New York City at the top of the Standard High Line in Lebain. So for all of you that get off work early or want to skip work, 3 to 8 p.m. we take over and we play awesome music, disco and dance. And there are really chill vibes and Wi-Fi and cocktails. So you can always just take your meeting on the roof and just happen to stay. I mean, I think it's the best rooftop party in the city. I can't think of a better thing to do on a Friday afternoon. And then it's 8 o'clock when we're done and you can still go out and while out if you're inspired to do so. What about New York City makes Good Peoples perfect is I think it's always on. It's the perfect place for a creative person. I think that it's impossible to walk down the street in New York and not be inspired, whether it's inspired to flick someone off or inspired to, think something looks cool. There's art on the streets. There's all kinds of people. There's all kinds of food. There's all kinds of music. You could go to a different part of the city 15 minutes away and be in a completely different world. You can choose to live 3 lives at the same time that never touch each other. I think I love that about New York. I consider Good Peoples to be expansive. I mean, I have people in all parts of the world, so I actually consider us sort of a global hub, and our place is like, not to sound corny, but it's like in our heart. We all like breathe and live this life that's usually viewed by external people as very extreme, and by us as like there's no other option, and it's the home for that. So I wouldn't be surprised if you see just like bigger, more badass things coming from everybody that I fuck with, and more visibility in more cities and more countries. I always say, that pair of sunglasses you're wearing, or that picture on that billboard, or that piece of jewelry you see on that celebrity, all of that stuff that's mass culture, it started here. And we're just taking over. So just keep your eye out because you're not even going to realize it happened.